happy to bring representative of the bank right now. And so please, you have the floor. Just let me know. I'll make you a host if you're having issues with your slides. Please go on.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ayman El-Zobi. I'm the Senior Manager for the Intra-African Trade and Corporate Finance at African Export-Import Bank. Thank you so much for inviting us. It's really our pleasure to be participating in this event. As you rightly said, this is the second time that we participate, and we really appreciate the opportunity. We appreciate the opportunity to support this big event, and we appreciate the opportunity to speak out and say what Afreximbank is doing, and even claim our rights to declare the kind of things that we contribute to the continent. So I'll go very quickly for all of those on the webinar who does not know much about Afreximbank. I'll go very quickly, give a brief introduction about the bank and what we do and our strategy. And also I'll give an idea about our interventions in the intra-African trade space, whether on the financing side or on the facilitation side. Well, the African Export-Import Bank, we're a multilateral African financial institution that was established in 1994. The main purpose behind establishing the bank is to have a dedicated institution to support trade finance in Africa, intra-African and extra-African trade, in times of crisis, especially in times of crisis. We have right now 51 member African countries of the bank. We have our headquarters in Cairo, Egypt, and we have 4 other branches covering other regions in Africa: East, West, Anglophone and Francophone, South Africa. We're doing a branch to cover Central Africa region, and another one is in the north to cover the Maghreb region. Our strategy is to support intra and extra African trades. The bank 5 years ago took the initiative and said that we need to refocus our direction to more on the promotion of intra-African trade, because this is the way, the regional integration is the way for Africa to develop. We've been, leaning a lot on other continents, but time has come for us to cooperate and work together. And we can do it. We have seen a lot of examples of successful intra-African trade businesses and investments that have contributed a lot to us Africans. So we have a 5-year strategy that hinges around 5 pillars. The main pillar and the arrowhead of our strategy is intra-African trades. And by that we say that we will increase the level of intra-African trade in Africa from its low level of 15 or 16% to something around 22 or 23%. And we do that through financing and facilitation initiatives. The other major important pillar is the export development. We want to focus on export development financing agro-processing zones, like financing industrial parks, bringing value addition to the raw materials in Africa to be exported as manufactured goods. And we do a lot in that space. We've been under this strategy for the past 5 years, and we've supported a lot of African corporates. We've tried to identify key African corporates across Africa that we can call intra-African trade champions. And those are the companies that has the track record, the capacity to do business across Africa. And we've supported them with over $2.5 billion. So far, we've dispersed over $14 billion on intra-African trade business. We have developed a lot of financing instruments, a lot of facilitation initiatives. We're supporting also export trading companies. The way to support relatively smaller industries to export by supporting an export trading company that can assemble all those goods from various producers and export to other African countries. So we're doing a lot in that space, really. We also came up with the Intra-African Trade Fair, which we do biannually. The first one was in Cairo in December 2018. It was very successful. We had over 1,000 exhibitors, more than 7,000 participants, and we've closed transactions and intra-African deals there of over $32 billion. Which was a major success for our first round. The next one will be in Kigali, Rwanda. It was supposed to be this year, but given, of course, the pandemic, we had to postpone it to next year. Hopefully by then, the things will have come down to a better shape and be able to hold it successfully once again. So yes, Afreximbank has been there for the major crisis. We've supported the continent at the time of the commodity crisis in 2015 and the FX crisis. We supported a lot of central banks in Africa and financial institutions to give them the right liquidity to support strategic needs. We've also supported the continent now under the pandemic, because we have our pandemic program under which we financed over $4 billion so far to African countries, to central banks, to governments, to corporates, to mitigate the effects of the pandemic. And we continue. We're also supporting the adoption of the AFCFTA free trade agreement in Africa. We came up with an adjustment facility that can support African governments and African corporates to give the push to African governments and countries to adopt the AFCFTA agreement and remove all trade barriers. So we give them an adjustment facility to help them adjust to the new situation for sectors or certain economies that will be negatively impacted by the adoption of this new free trade agreement. So we're doing a lot in that space, and we'll continue to do more. And we're happy to share that with all of you today. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. I think one thing we also want to do is call out that Mrs. Kanayo, the MD for Intra-African Trade, visited last year, and she actually spent an hour, a full hour, and she also had a Q&A with CNBC Africa. So again, when I started today's event, I basically shared that we're building on the foundation. So for those just joining on with the Trade with Africa movement, what we are going to do is make those videos, because if you want to dig deeper and you want to really see more, we're going to start making our old videos available on our platform. So if anybody new joins in, we don't have to start all over again. They can just join us midstream. So we will make that video available, which also so this presentation builds on that. So when you talked about the Intra-African Trade Fair in 2018, I personally, it was such an honor. I was personally there. It was an amazing an experience of a lifetime to be right there for the first inaugural IATF. And that's why I'm super excited to be partnering and spreading the word to say, hey, I'm not the only one that needs to fly in this time around to Kigali next year. This is an event that basically, your bank, Afreximbank, is bringing all the who's who in African trade together. You're bringing all the exporters across the continent for about, I think, 55 countries to one location. So for me, as a, from an investment standpoint or an exporter standpoint, that's would I say, the easiest way to enter the African market is to show up when that work is already done for you. Because in this, you could decide to fly to, 40 countries and start going one by one, or you could decide to just attend the Intra-African Trade Fair and be able to connect immediately with the key stakeholders, the decision makers, from ministry leaders. So to your point, your bank is multilateral. So you do work with the African government. So in fact, in terms of, I don't know if you could share a little bit in terms of contracts that goes with government versus private sector. What does that look like? Because I think the last 20 years, people have not really seen the commercial activities on the private sector side. They've pretty much been engaging with governments. But I think the future of Africa really lies in activating direct trade engagement with the African private sector. So I don't know if you could share a little bit about what you've seen over the last couple of years in that space.
Yes, thank you so much. No, we strongly believe in the role of the private sector to develop Africa, and we believe in the message that we must support the private sector. And as I said, we look for successful companies across Africa, and we help other companies to emerge as intra-African trade champions. For example, throughout the year, we travel usually, of course, before the pandemic, and meet heads of states and key government officials. In those missions, we bring along our clients, our private sector, big corporates that can offer their services to the governments, and the government to offer their projects and the kind of projects they have. And we do this matchmaking. And we've done a lot in that space. We facilitated contracts between the private sector in Africa and other African governments of over $3 billion over the past 3 years. And we do that in the belief that we must give opportunities to African corporates to compete globally. For example, in Egypt, we have Arab contractors that does construction, and they operate in more than 15 African countries. We've supported them a lot in more than 6 African countries now, and we help them to compete with other Chinese construction companies. We're supporting Dangote of Nigeria. We're supporting OCP in Morocco, the largest phosphate fertilizer. We're supporting El Suidi of Egypt. We supported them in a project in Angola that we were competing against GE. General Electric. So we really believe in the message that we should support the African private sectors to compete globally and take more share of the business in Africa, and also support smaller kinds of business through giving lines of credit to commercial banks to be on lend to those relatively smaller companies. And also we understand that the problem of intra-African trade really lies in the trade information, the lack of trade information. You know, others will talk about the lack of infrastructure, tariffs, and all of that. We say, we know that, yes, those are bottlenecks, those are restrictions, but the main restriction in our view is intra-African trade information availability. So if the information is there, if people in Egypt know what people in Nigeria need, and if Nigeria knows what Egypt produces, then the trade will happen, the connection will happen, the communication will start, and then the infrastructure will follow. And then people will find and establish means for that trade to happen. So we established a desk for trade information advisor services. We meet a lot of companies, private sector, who say we have the capacity, we want to export to West Africa, for example, or to South Africa, but we don't know the market, we don't know the people there, we don't know the opportunities. Can you help us with that? And we do this advice services. We do it from the first stage of doing a simple research on the opportunities, on the availability of the market there, all the way through to doing a joint roadshow for that company in this African market or in this African region to introduce them to the market and the local agencies and so on and so forth. So yes, you're absolutely correct. The support to the Africa private sector is key.
Right. Wow. Thank you for that. So I've also been following the work you're doing when it comes to currency across the continent. So when we talk about intra-African trade, we see a lot of currency issues. And you've also, I believe, was it last year you introduced, is it the PP? What's it called? I don't think people, I follow you guys. I read up everything. I'm subscribed to your newsletter. But can you please just educate our audience right now in terms of what you're doing in that space?
Yes, you're probably talking about the payment platform.
Exactly.
Payment and settlement platform.
Yes.
It's an electronic platform that we're trying to establish in collaboration with the African Union and African central banks that will be a platform, an electronic platform for trade. Not only it will be a platform for people to exchange information and do deals, but also be a clearinghouse, which will be clearing currencies, so that dependency on foreign currency would be very low. So that if you can trade, Tanzania, for example, can trade with Egypt. So Tanzanians can pay in shilling and the Egyptians can take Egyptian pounds, and we do the clearing in between. So that the reliance on the foreign currency and trade among the Africans goes below the very high levels that we are witnessing now. We launched this in the meeting of the African Union last year. With the head of the African Union, but we're doing an official launch in fourth quarter this year, which will be operational. The platform will actually be operational first quarter of this year.
Right. I personally think that's a game changer.
You know, it is.
Yeah, not just for Africans. So it's good for Africans, but I think it's one of those things that the Western world needs to be looking at in terms of the impact to Forex and all of that. So I say Africa is on the move. So thank you so much for sharing that. So if anyone asks questions for our speakers, please again use the Q&A section, drop it. But I can really spend, just sitting and talking to you guys, because again, I know the role your organization plays. On this side, I try to tell people about your work, about IATF. So it's such a pleasure and honor again to have you. And on that note, I don't know, Janice, if you want me to start with playing the video, the short video of the IATF 2021, or do you want to go ahead, Janice, to talk about that? Whichever one you, we can see you now. Fantastic.
Thank you so much, Toyin, for giving us this opportunity to share inter-Africa trade with everybody. And good day to everyone who's online. As you're aware, Afreximbank, in collaboration with the African Union Commission and the government of the Republic of Rwanda, will host the second edition of the Inter-Africa Trade Fair in Kigali, Rwanda, from the 6th to the 12th of September, under the theme, Building Bridges for a Successful AFCFTA. Inter-Africa Trade Fair is the key event boosting trade in Africa. No other event brings together more professionals under one roof. In 2021, our theme will focus on the newly launched African Continental Free Trade Area, a single market for goods and services across 55 countries aimed at boosting trade and investment. The Inter-Africa 2020 will provide, the Inter-Africa Trade Fair 2021 will provide a unique and valuable platform for businesses to access integrated African markets of over 1.2 billion people with a combined GDP of over 2.5 trillion created under the African Continental Free Trade Area. We're going to focus on our objectives are bringing together continental and global players who are seeking business and investment opportunities in Africa. We serve as a marketplace where buyers and sellers can meet and continue to explore various business opportunities, provide a platform for B2B and B2G networking and development of business opportunities, share trade, investment, market information to identify solutions while addressing challenges affecting intra-African trade, to share information about Afreximbank's initiatives, trade finance, and trade facilitation interventions. The 2018 attracted over 2,500 conference delegates, 1,000 exhibitors from over 45 countries, resulting in over 32 billion worth of trade and investment deals were closed at our 2018 event. The second edition, which is in 2021 next year, is expected to be even bigger and aims to attract 5,000 conference delegates, 1,100 exhibitors, including over 1,000 buyers from over 55 countries who will engage to grow an investment on the African continent, and more than 40 billion in trade and investment deals are being targeted at Inter-Africa 2021. The key components of our second edition include an exhibition, trade and investment forum, virtual trade fair, country days, Creative Africa program, B2B, B2G exchanges, IATF Youth Startup Program, IATF Automotive Show. I'll cover further information on each one of them as we go on. The exhibition offering exhibitors opportunities to showcase their goods and services, providing a platform for countries and companies to identify credible partners that can facilitate foreign direct investment flow necessary for expanding Africa's productive capacity. The exhibition covers multiple sectors and will run for 7 days with a full jam-packed program covering speed networking, matchmaking, hosted buyers, workshops, and just much more. We'll also be covering various industries. Like I said, it's very multi-sectorial. The Trade and Investment Forum next year, our conference will address topical issues relating to trade finance, payments, trade facilitation, trade enabling infrastructure, trade standards, industrialization, regional value chains and investment. There will also be an opportunity for training exporters on how to access the African market with other African or global entities. A very exciting program is going to be our Creative Africa program. This is going to showcase Africa's creative economy. The program will showcase the creative economy in Africa over the 7 days, including a 2-day Creative Africa Summit. 7-day exhibition with dedicated area covering the creative sector, masterclasses, fashion shows, and many more. The country days, we have countries that have been invited to bid for the country day feature. There will only be 5 country days available, and selected countries will have the opportunity to showcase their trade, investment, tourism, and cultural opportunities. We've also introduced our automotive show. This is a dedicated area within the exhibition focused on automotive. This is the automotive's opportunity to showcase what the continent has to offer through various networking opportunities, meetings, and workshops. Another addition to the fair is our Youth Startup Program. We'll have a dedicated pavilion for the youth startups in Africa, where they will showcase their goods and services. IATF2021 will provide opportunities for matchmaking with venture capitalists, training programs, networking amongst the youth and other delegates. And we've got our virtual trade fair platform. The virtual trade fair enables virtual participation by buyers and sellers in the trade as a 365, 24/7 platform, reigniting economies and allowing inter-African trade to continue. The virtual trade fair has virtual booths, hosts webinars, and facilitates virtual engagement between buyers and sellers. IATF Virtual Trade Fair is an innovative and cost-effective platform to promote, educate, sell your products and services to a larger audience of key players. The benefits cover various things. So IATF brings together exhibitors and visitors from all sectors. It provides a year-round platform for attendees and non-attendees alike to connect in real time during the event and during the rest of the year and in between trade fairs. Our virtual platform is a dynamic and convenient way to visit IATF, identify investment opportunities, source products, network with exhibitors, engage in dialogue, identify solutions and strategies, create partnerships, and do business as well. And our booth cost is only $750 per booth for a 12-month subscription. This is just showing you, if you log on to our platform, it shows you where you can actually go and register. You just go onto the Inter-Africa Trade Fair platform and you click onto Virtual Trade Fair, create your free account if you could do that, and you can just take a feel and go around the Virtual Trade Fair platform and just get a feel for what you'll be getting and how it works. We've also got our merch store, which is really great, a marketplace and online, an opportunity to purchase official IATF merchandise, as well as an opportunity for exhibitors to use the platform through the IATF marketplace to sell their products. We will be using various communication channels, which we're already doing. We've got, so we're promoting and communicating through multiple channels across multiple continents. The campaign includes ongoing promotions about the various components of the event through media buying platforms, including TV and digital, social media, the VTF, network engagements such as Toyans, through live events across the world. There are various opportunities that you actually can take advantage in IATF 2021. Get your brand associated and a captive audience who will be your next business opportunity. IATF and its affiliates are recognized as thought leaders with networks that reach far and wide. So for the sponsorship opportunities, we have various packages which I've just listed. So we have various packages, but they're not limited to these. We cater for big businesses, for small businesses. You can contact me at any time. We can even do you a custom package for a sponsorship opportunity to actually take part in Rwanda. And actually, you can actually take part from now. And as a partner, you will benefit from branding rights. You're going to have access to over 1,000 buyers, 1,100 exhibitors, and 10,000 visitors. So IATF is the only platform where you're going to have access to meet 55 African governments, qualified global hosted buyers, and an investor. So it is really a unique opportunity to get involved in. And if you've got any questions, please feel free to contact myself or my colleague Chardonnay. We will issue this presentation to Toyin. And if anyone wants to speak to me at any time with any participation for IATF, I'm available at any time. Thank you, Toyin.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Also, just to share a little bit that we are actually going, after this event, we're also now talking about doing something, you know, just to keep pushing this forward sometime in October. So once we're able to lock down data and everything, so everyone that's on our platform here in the US as well, and those who join us virtually, we will be very, very excited to share that announcement with you. So for me, I say when we talk about trade with Africa, it doesn't get better than actually the practical side of it. You know, I usually, those who follow me know that I say talk is cheap. You know, a lot of us, we talk about trade with Africa and we say this, you know, this is the time to show up. This is the time to be in the room. This is the time to explore the opportunities and be a part of the movement to transform Africa. So like I said, if you have questions, please do drop that comment in the Q&A area. And I'm looking now if you have specific questions for African Export-Import Bank or the IATF 2021. Like I said, this is just a teaser in terms of what it is. So one thing I want to also do, I do love that video, Janice, that you sent. I want to see if I can quickly share that video as well.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. All the way from Cairo, Egypt and South Africa. I really do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yes. So.
Join Africa's largest trade and investment fair in Rwanda. Intra-African Trade Fair gives you access to more than 1,100 exhibitors, 10,000 visitors and buyers, and more than 5,000 conference delegates from more than 55 countries. Participate in trade and investment deals worth $40 billion as business and government come together to explore business and networking opportunities at the International Exhibition. Brought to you by the African Export-Import Bank and their premium partners, the IATF 2021, Transforming Africa.
That's just a teaser. We also do have on our Nazaru, my company's YouTube, you can also see videos from the previous engagements and all the various activations that happen all across the continent. We also hosted one here in Chicago to keep the conversation going within the diaspora and the Western investor as well. So I'm looking at the time. It looks like we're really moving fast. We actually have time to take a long break, stretch your legs, take your coffee break,